Saying goodbye to another legend. Ben Wyatt becomes Uncle Ben. DC is still a hot mess. And we get into our favorite movie theater moments. Welcome to the madness. Welcome to another episode of Monday Madness with Morgan and Jeannine. Hello, Morgan.
Hello, the machine. How are you? Monster Truck Voice is back.
Yes. I always feel ridiculous doing it, but I can't not do it. I mean, the title just evokes that essence of Monster Trucks.
You think it does. I really have no concept.
Well, you have no concept, of course, but yes.
As to what even a Monster Truck rally even entails, what an absurdly American event.
You're missing out.
I might be missing out. How many Monster Truck rallies have you attended in your lifetime, Jeannine?
Anyway.
0. So, thank you very much.
But I am aware of the concept. And it's not that if I had the opportunity, I would go. I just haven't been presented with the opportunity to go.
No. Okay. Fair enough. They don't exist in Britain, obviously, but we are back with Monday Madness. It's episode 11, Jeannine. Little did we think that episode 11 would even be possible, given the fact that, well, this week, for people who aren't aware, my laptop decided to break and the screen wouldn't work. And the screen still doesn't actually work, but the system does work, which is how we're actually still able to do this right now.
Yes, we had to make it work.
So hopefully that can be entirely fixed at one point. But for now, basically, I can only use my laptop in this exact location because here is my other monitor. That's how that works. That does actually work. It's a whole weird situation, but it's okay.
We made it work. Yes.
It's okay for now. Adapting. We're still going, aren't we, Jeannine? Episode 11 of Monday Madness. We have a whole bunch of stuff we want to talk about. As usual, I think our Let's Talk's going to be pretty fun as well today. Our interesting movie theatre experiences, the very memorable for positive and potentially negative ways as well. I have a few kind of weird ones myself, and some that I wish were different, shall we say, but also some very good ones. And I'm sure you are very much the same on that, Jeannine.
Yes.
Is it time for me to ask the question we always like me to ask at the beginning of the show?
I think it is.
Well, so, Jeannine... So
lots of soap. Morgan.
Oh, there's lots of soap. You alluded to it all in the intro. Yes. Craziness again, sadness again, stupidness again, and one particular topic I really don't want to have to talk about again, but we're going to because it's relevant.
Yes.
What would you like to start with?
We can get the sad moments out of the way.
Sad moments, the respectful moments.
Yes. So we did lose another 2 actors and performers in the world of film and other things that we do enjoy. Anne Heche and Olivia Newton-John. Anne Heche recently passed, I believe, on Friday. She was in a coma for several weeks. She had crashed her car into a house, and the car and the house caught on fire, caused a big explosion. So she'd been in a coma, and they decided to take her off life support, and she passed. So, I mean, just in terms of Anne Heche, I think she had talked a lot about, her relationship with Ellen, which is, I think, what a lot of people kind of remember about her. And the fact that was kind of a big deal. Like, I remember seeing an interview where she was talking about how if she had taken Ellen to the premiere of, I believe, her movie with Harrison Ford, 6 Days, 7 Nights, her management was going to drop her. Or Fox was going to let her out of her contract or something like that if she had chose to take Ellen to the premiere of that movie. So I think just in terms of, gay rights and gay advocacy, they were kind of a trailblazing relationship that really kind
absolutely.
of cemented the fact that, you know, a relationship is just a relationship and nothing more. So definitely her kind of standing up for that was something that I think she'll be remembered for. She did have 2 sons. You know, as a horror fan, I do remember her in things like the Psycho remake and I Know What You Did Last Summer. That movie I mentioned,
Yes.
6 Days, 7 Nights, as a rom-com fan. I actually really do love that movie. So yeah,
I
I
know her
mean,
most from I Know What You're Perfectly Honest, and the Ellen situation, yes.
yes.
Which, like you said, is I think what will cement her positive legacy,
Yes.
and rightfully so,
Yeah.
100% rightfully so. She may not have been the biggest name actor. I certainly don't think she's as big a name as the other individual or the other highly
Yeah.
notable performer who passed away this past week as well. But she will certainly be remembered in a positive light for like you say, for very public gay advocacy, as you will
Yes.
say, which is, you know, at that time as well. This is it mid late 90s ish?
Yeah. Yeah.
Hot topic,
Yeah. Yeah.
So, you know, props to Anne Heche, and it's really a horrible way to
Yeah.
pass away
So
as well.
they haven't released too much about kind of the circumstances of the situation. I did read something about, you know, things being in her system. I know she had
Mm,
incidents a few years ago where I think it actually happened here in where I live in Fresno, where she was intoxicated or something, and she ended up breaking into a home and like ending up in somebody's bed in Fresno. But since then, she had kind of been rehabilitated and worked on herself and did all these things. So I don't know too much about the circumstances, but ultimately, I think she can be remembered positively for what she's
yeah,
contributed to, you know, gay rights and you know, wanting to be a good mom and a whole lot of good things.
yeah,
So
and a number of good movies
yeah,
as well,
yeah,
which
definitely.
is should be said. So yes,
Yes,
rest easy, Anne Heche. I
yes,
certainly hope it won't be easy after, you know, like I said, it's an incredibly unpleasant way to pass
yes.
away. Not that there's any such pleasant way, but I think you
No.
know what I mean.
And she always wanted to, I think I've seen a lot of things talking about how it was important to her to be able to donate her organs. So they had
Yeah,
been keeping her on life support so that they could keep her organs kind of, you know, so they could
yeah,
see what could be donated to people who need it. So yeah,
yeah. Oh yes, I mean that's good. That's a
yes,
good thing. But yes, we also, as you said before, we lost Olivia Newton-John as well,
yes,
which seemed to come like right after, or seemed to come like last Monday or last Tuesday.
yeah.
So I think some people may have listened to last week's episode and gone, "Oh, you haven't
We
mentioned
didn't even
Olivia
mention,
Newton-John,"
yes. So, you
but
know,
it was
in the
slightly
timing of how we have
after.
to record these things, yeah, we sometimes miss things on
Obviously,
around the time. But yes,
obviously, Olivia Newton-John is pretty big, pretty significant to most everyone. I mean, just for Grease alone,
yes,
really, there is not. It's one of those movies that every person has seen and pretty much enjoys. Even
yeah.
if you don't admit you enjoy it,
Yeah,
you
and I think
kind of
people
do.
people are trying to kind of backtrack it into the problematic movie type,
They
you know,
are.
vein that they are today.
It's
You
just
know.
not really possible to, because it's too revered, really, isn't it? It's too well thought of. It's too in everybody's minds, and
Yes.
generation after generation after generation. I mean, that movie came out in 1978. It was
Yes.
about the 50s,
Yes.
which is always an interesting concept. I love how you do get that. Like in the 70s, you get teen movies that are about the 50s, and in like the 90s you get teen movies that are about the 70s because the directors have kind of grown up and they're in the like late 30s now, so it makes sense.
Yeah.
And that kind of dawned on me, realized when I was realizing
No, I mean,
what Grease means to people.
The day that she passed, I went home and watched Grease, and just, her singing in that movie, and, she was just very magnetic and dynamic, and, John Travolta wrote a beautiful message to her, and just kind of sad for him, like, he's lost a lot, and, so two women that meant a lot to him, he lost both of them to cancer, his wife, Kelly Preston, not that long ago, and now, he kind of ended the message to her, you're Danny, you're John. So I thought that was really sweet. And we've seen them kind of do stuff together over the years related to Grace kind of coming together and doing little photo shoots and singing. And so yeah, definitely really sad that she's passed. She had a long battle with breast cancer. I believe she was able to kind of beat it. She was in remission for a few years, and then it came back, I think, in her back. And so just a fighter till the end, and just will be remembered for her beautiful voice and her beautiful talent. And it was great seeing the outpouring of love and messages from particularly like Australian actors. She's kind of their iconic person as well, so to see like Nicole Kidman and Hugh Jackman, and talk about how amazing it was to meet her, know her, and
every notable Australian actor of more recent generations hero, isn't she really? So
yes. So and everyone has said she loved her fans, and
she always came across as a very positive person.
The woman who played Frenchie, I can't remember her name. They recently did it.
Tell you.
They recently did an interview with her, and she just talked about how she would she loved her fans. When she would perform, she would sing her song. When she would do an encore, she would sing "I Honestly Love You," because that was kind of how she felt about her fans. And so
my favorite Olivia Newton-John song is obviously "Let's Get Physical."
Because and like people, I've seen her in interviews talking about, people thought that was very risque at the time.
And I know it's a stupid song.
And then compared to like music videos now, like just think of something like WAP. Physical was the WAP of its time.
Kind of was, right?
Yeah.
Kind of was.
Yeah, so just loved her. She was amazing. Hopelessly Devoted is one I always sing.
It is the best song.
Yes.
100%. Hopelessly Devoted to You is the best song. It's the best performed. It's the best song. And it gets you the most. Everybody likes to sing the stupid summer loving song. Everybody likes to sing
We Go Together.
Everybody likes to sing "We Go Together" like shoobity boobity boobity boobity.
Yeah.
Everybody does.
And you're the one that I want, of course.
Yes. But Hopelessly Devoted to You is an actual song.
Yes, and just her pure vocals, and it's so beautiful. And
it comes on the radio a lot if you listen to Heart 70s, which I do.
Oh, yeah. I think you do. Yes, yeah.
I do. Yes. When I'm listening to the radio, when I'm not listening to my own music in the car, I listen to Heart 70s, which is
nice.
A radio in Britain. And it does come on. It does come on quite a lot on that. But yes, I think she was 73 as well, and Anne Heche was 53.
Yeah.
It's no ages at all.
No.
It's very sad, but it's always nice to pay our respects on the show.
Yes. We love movies. It's these actors become a part of your kind of life and lexicon of things that you remember and part of your memories. So when you lose one of them, you do feel that as a fan of film and art and creativity. You lose a creative force, you lose a creative mind, a creative being when you are a creative person. So we always kind of want to pay respects to people that we've lost along the way that inspired us, that added to the creativity of things we love. So
I haven't actually watched Grease in ages as well.
Yeah, I came home and decided to watch it that night and still just love that movie. So much
It's
fun.
always just seems to be on TV on certain times of the year, certain like holidays of the year.
Yeah.
Like, oh, Grease will come on. It's like Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Oh, what? Or Jason and the Argonauts. It's one of these
Just
movies
on.
that British TV just shows all
Just
the time.
has.
Or
Yeah.
any Bond movie.
Oh,
It just
yeah.
shows.
It's just a regular rotation.
Yeah, Harry Potter at Christmas. It's just it's just always there.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's also one of those kind of few movies that I think my own mum really, really loves, because she's not huge into movies, to be honest with you, but
yeah, your
she
mom
really
is like
does.
my sister and my mom. Like, they don't really watch movies like that.
She really does. She really does like that one. Weirdly, I've never actually seen my mum's favourite movie, which is actually The Slipper and the Rose, which is the Cinderella adaptation with Richard Chamberlain.
I've never seen that.
I've never seen it, but I know for a fact that is my mum's favourite movie.
Well, her birthday is coming up. Maybe you should
kind of is
be like, hey, Mom, let's watch it together. I'll sit and watch your favorite movie with you.
Watch along idea. She wouldn't come on a watch along. You would not get to anywhere near a watch along. But I'd like the idea. I certainly like the idea. I think it's also about 3 hours.
Oh,
so
goodness, might be a long watch
I think it is. It's from the 70s.
Okay.
I don't know a great deal about it other than it's got Richard Chamberlain in it. It's a Cinderella
adaptation.
Movie.
Yeah.
And it's from the 70s and it's quite long.
Okay.
Why she's never actually sat us down to watch it, I couldn't tell you.
I mean,
but Grease, she certainly did. So
I mean, from the moment like we decided to do all these shows and things together, I was like, "You're watching Cutting Edge. You're watching my favorite movie." So I made you watch my favorite movie almost immediately.
And I'm pretty sure you will have seen my or a number of my favorite movies, because I never say I have one, but you know, the likes of Bugsy Malone and things like that I just unabashedly adore.
Yes.
Even though they're a bit silly.
Yes, Willy Wonka.
And Willy Wonka, obviously, yes.
Yes.
And various other things. But, yes, rest easy to the both of them.
Yes.
And I would like to now talk about something I feel positive about before we get on to anything that I feel negative about. Please, Jeannine.
Okay.
As the 3rd season of the best coming-of-age show on Netflix, Never Have I Ever, is back for the 3rd season. Yes.
See, I've never watched it, so
I haven't watched it all yet. I've watched like the first 4 episodes, but I will finish it very soon because I love it. It's so great. It's so fun.
I will watch this show when you watch The Boys. So.
But The Boys is heavy. This isn't heavy. This is a silly teen romancy comedy coming of age show.
The Boys is funny, and it makes fun of a lot of things that people find very annoying in the world, and it just like pokes fun of those things. It's a great
The next thing I'm watching on Amazon is obviously The Rings of Power, so.
Okay, well, you watch that show and I will watch this show.
Oh, no. That show. As though you're not going to watch it.
I'm not
You're
watching
not
that
going
show
to
until you
watch
watch
The Rings of Power.
Oh, well, The Rings of Power, yes, of course.
See?
But I'm not going to watch Never Have I Ever until you watch The Boys.
I think you'd enjoy it. It's the most chaotic show I've ever watched, and I don't usually like kind of chaotic teen drama.
It's pretty chaotic.
But I think Davy in Never Have I Ever is one of the characters who I think I've ever come across, who has continually made the worst possible decision after worst possible decision that you could possibly make. It's not Meet the Parents level frustrating to watch, because that is arguably the single most frustrating movie in the history of time.
And Don't watch Dan in Real Life. That one is infuriating as
Okay,
well.
I won't watch that. But you are just like, you want so much good for Devi in Never Have I Ever, and she's continually just doing the wrong thing in life, in relationships, in friendships, and yeah, it's but it's fun and it's funny and it's sweet, and Maitreyi Ramakrishnan's just phenomenal and should be doing far more than Never Have I Ever, and for some reason isn't. I don't know why she isn't, because she's just great, and it, you know, gives us the kind of, this is why I enjoyed it from the start, was it's about an Indian girl. So it's an Indian girl growing up in like Sherman Oaks, California.
Yeah, well, that's awesome.
So it gives you, you know,
that
her dad's passed away. She's living with her mum. The kind of season 1 deals with a lot of that kind of stuff. But it gives you a different perspective. And, you know, I like my female coming of age things. And, you know, I like my coming of age things about different cultures. And this is exactly that. This is all of it merged into one.
Stop making me want to watch this, because I know you're not going to go watch The Boys.
It's great. It's great. I know it comes under some flack as well, because I think the main love interest, I forget his name in real life, but he's called Paxton on the show, or one of the 2 main love interests, I suppose.
Ew.
I think Maitreyi Ramakrishnan's like 21, 22-ish, I think, something like that. And I'm sure he's like 36.
Oh my gosh.
So, and he's playing like the same age. But he doesn't look it. You know, he looks age appropriate.
Young. Okay.
It's and when I found that out, I was like, well, okay, that was weird. But some people, you know, are awkward and they don't like that, and it's all like, oh, look at this adult man, but also Maitreyi's an adult woman, so
yes, in real life, yeah.
I don't, you know, it's a show at the end of the day, you know, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
But no, it's great and I love it. And I hate that Netflix doesn't promote its things properly, and you actually just have to follow the actors and the creators behind said shows and movies and things
because they're just churning out so much at one time.
I saw something about this Knives Out sequel, you know, because Netflix bought Knives Out. Apparently, that's coming in 1 month. Have you seen anything about it? Because I haven't.
They just showed like the title card of it and has released the cast, and that's about it. Yeah.
1 month away from the premiere of this thing on Netflix, and you don't know diddly. You don't know a trailer. You've not got all this promo. What's going on, Netflix? Every other streaming service does it.
Yeah.
Disney Plus does it. Amazon does it. HBO does it. All the stupid little ones, Peacock TV and all this nonsense.
Oh, yeah. You see Disney Plus ads for their new stuff all the time.
All the time. Same with Amazon, same with HBO, same with all the rest of them. Netflix, you see nothing until the day, and then you just go, oh, this. You get a little tweet.
Yeah.
Look, it's this. And then it's forgotten about the next week. Stupid Netflix.
Yes. Better promotion. You can afford it.
I'd have been far more excited for Stranger Things Season 4 if I'd have known it was happening a few weeks before it actually just bombarded onto me.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes.
Weird anyway, but it's a great show, and I wanted to smile because I love that show, and it's silly, and it's one of Morgan's silly little shows that he likes.
Well, make yourself smile before you get incredibly frustrated, because
go on then.
DC is still a hot mess, like I said.
I'm tired of talking about it, Jeannine. It's every damn week, and I've absolutely had enough.
Ezra has caught another case. Some burglary charge now is upon him.
Needs to calm down. I believe now, I'm going to be respectful, but I believe we should be referring to Ezra Miller as they, them. I do believe that.
Yes, apologies.
So I would like to be respectful, even though Ezra Miller is clearly a weirdo.
Yes. They have a theft charge now, I guess.
No, it's some nonsense, isn't it? I mean, they can't stop themselves.
And the fact that the studio is just not even addressing it, not even kind of at least saying something about it. They've done some reshoots now, all
I've
around the
had enough.
time of all of these charges kind of coming up on them. So I don't know what this movie's going to be. And also just kind of from DC, apparently a lot of the people working for DC have no concept of this David Zaslav's big old 10-year plan that he has been talking about. Once they heard the news of Batgirl being pulled and his 10-year plan, a lot of people were pissed. They didn't know what he was talking about. This was like news to them. Walter Hamada, who's the president of DC, like I guess almost walked when he heard Batgirl was being pulled.
God.
And word of this 10-year plan, he had to be talked into staying at least until October when Black Adam was coming out. There's just word Variety put out a whole article about just kind of how most of people at DC just aren't on board for his plan, weren't really aware. It was news to them that he was pulling projects and saying things like this. So he was not in any kind of clear communication with the president of DC or people involved in making these movies. So I mean, to all the people who thought that, oh, this sounds great. Like, it seems like they're really working on stuff. They're really listening to it. No, he did not even communicate any of this apparently to the people who are making these movies. So check out the Variety article. It kind of breaks it all down. But yeah, apparently, yeah, Walter Hamada, the president, was not very happy. A lot of people are pissed who work at DC because, yeah, they were not on board with this plan. So, yeah.
It is incredibly confusing, Jeannine.
Yes.
It's incredibly confusing to me. And I also don't understand how we are allowed to go bye-bye Batgirl, right?
Yes.
We're perfectly happy to do that. But, and now again, with more criminal nonsense from Ezra Miller.
Yeah.
We're not just at this point going bye-bye Flash. I know you've spent about 300,000 million billion gazillion dollars on it. I'm aware of that.
Yes.
But at this point, nobody's seen this movie. Nobody's going to see this movie. Nobody's interested in seeing this movie. Or at least hardly anyone is. But you're pulling a movie that that could have made significant profit, like Batgirl, if it was good, especially if it was good. I mean, you don't know, do you? But you don't have faith. I don't have faith that this Flash movie is even going to be competently done.
Yeah, especially if you're having to cut around things, cut around Ezra. Like
it's
they're playing a couple versions of themselves in this movie. So,
oh God,
yeah. There's like a couple versions of Barry in this movie. So like with scenes together. So like I don't know how that's gonna go.
But a complete mess. A complete mess.
Mm-hmm.
And a continuing complete mess. I know there's been things that there's 3 things we can do about the Flash movie. I am Warner Brothers, and here are the 3 things. Number 1 is do some sort of extended interview with Ezra Miller, where Ezra Miller will explain that they're very sorry.
Why
they're
they
going
did what
to
they did,
look into themselves,
some kind of
go to therapy, all this business. Here is one idea we have. Here is another idea we have. Is release the movie on HBO Max with no fanfare at all, just so it's there. Or don't at all release the movie. Now, I'm thinking at this point, if you can do away with Batgirl, that was a deeply unproblematic movie.
Yeah.
That I think people were excited for. A little bit of a smaller character.
And there's some kind of financial loophole where they can get their money back and cut their losses. Why couldn't you cut your losses and, for that?
I understand
for the Flash.
That a great many people work on these things and want to see it as a final product. But I also have to think that, well, all those people have actually, they don't get paid when the movie comes out, do they? They get paid as they are making the movie.
Yeah.
So they're not out of pocket, really. they just don't see their final product. And I think when you realise what the final product is, I'm sure everybody'd be like, fair enough, unless this is just me. If I was getting paid to create something that things out of my control had made it turn into just this hellscape of this is not going to perform well in the slightest, but I still know that I've done a good job in myself and people around me, and like, yes, we've done a good job here. We can be satisfied in ourselves that we've done a good job. We can even take little bits of things for ourselves, because I think that happens, doesn't it?
Yeah.
To have something there that say we did a good job on this Flash movie before the star decided to become a continuous criminal, or career criminal. He might as well be a supervillain at this point, or they might as well. I do apologize. They might as well be a supervillain at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, is Ezra Miller just actually trying to become into the superhero world?
Yeah, I'm not sure what is going on through their head that they don't realize what they're doing to these other people who put their time and effort into making this movie. Like, let the movie come out and then go on your crime spree. Like,
right?
You're really ruining
at least let the movie come out before you need to fulfill your need of thefts and burglaries and assaulting and people.
Awful to all these people who put so much time and effort, the other actors, the directors, the studio,
everyone,
the CG people doing the special effects, everyone who worked on this movie, and you're just screwing it all up. Like,
it is literally,
you just feel ridiculous. No remorse for any of it. Like, it sucks.
No,
it really sucks.
It's just ridiculous. But I am happily saying that my thing is, or my opinion, and I think it's the logical one, is, well, get rid of it, because you've been able to just get rid of movies apparently now. If they hadn't have done that with Batgirl, I wouldn't be saying that. But they've shown that they're more than willing to do it to something that had no issues with it. So why not do it to something that obviously does? If it's the same principle. Or at least it's the same principle to me. I know there's probably significant more financial losses involved, but there's going to be financial losses anyway when it's released and makes diddly squat.
Nobody sees it. Yeah.
So Warner Brothers, again,
and the fact that
what the hell are you doing?
They have no plan. They're not addressing it. They're just acting like everything's fine. So
it's just stupid.
Yeah,
it's very, very stupid.
Frustrating right now. But...
And I've had enough of it. I really have had enough of it. Is there anything else we want to talk about that we haven't had enough of, Jeannine?
We did get some interesting news about Sony's Madam Web movie.
Now, also the Sony universe of Spider-Man nonsense, which whatever it's called, isn't something Morgan cares about either.
They are the second most infuriating when it comes to
they are.
Because it's like you loan out Spider-Man, right? And then you're still trying to do all these other contradicting things, but also kind of still trying to connect it to Marvel because you know how successful they've been.
Did you actually go and see Morbius?
I did not.
Neither did I. I'm thankful about the fact that we didn't.
You had one success with one Spider-Man movie recently, so you decide, okay, we're going to put all our money in this Spider-Man basket, and that's how you get Morbius, and that's how you get the Venom movies, which have their fun moments, but
I think people like the first Venom, don't they?
I think I personally like the second Venom more than the first one. Like, I was so bored with the first Venom. Like, Tom Hardy is great in it, but everything around it is like,
okay.
Yeah, that's kind of how the Venom movies are. You love Tom Hardy, you love his relationship with Venom, and then everything else is kind of nonsense. So yes, they had their successful Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
So they think, okay, well, that's where we're going to make our money, is anything Spider-Man.
To animation.
Right? And it's like, yeah, the fact that this was an innovative type of animation, you had great voice work, you crafted that story there, you put it in the hands of people who have a great track record with comedy and those kinds of things. So yeah, success. But that does not translate to your live action project. So they're doing this Madam Web movie, has Dakota Johnson, um, it has now they're talking about Emma Roberts as Peter Parker's mother. There's set photos of her pregnant with Peter, and Adam Scott as our young Uncle Ben. I guess he's a paramedic in this movie, and I don't know where it's going, so it's gonna just jump times. And
I'm not even sure what to think about Adam Scott as Uncle Ben. One Ben going from another Ben.
Yes, which is going to kind of mess up, unless he's played JFK in something that I just don't know about. It's going to mess up the kind of track record of Uncle Ben always being played by an actor who's playing JFK.
Which is something significant, and I think we need to continue that trend.
Yes. Personally. So I was kind of hopeful of seeing like a picture of Rob Lowe on Marissa Tomei's mantle. Because age appropriate, and
another Parks and Rec cast member.
Yes, exactly. They picked the wrong one, but they wanted, I guess, younger Uncle Ben. So that's what they're going with here. So I mean, I don't know. I don't even know the plot of this story. I don't know.
No, I know very. I mean, I know virtually nothing about Madam Web, to be honest with you. The thing I suppose genuinely interested in and excited by in terms of the Sony Spider-Man stuff is this second Into the Spider-Verse movie.
Yes, because the first one was so
is later this year, I think, actually, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. If not early
next year.
Yeah.
But I think that's going to be great because it's like you said, they're one good, really good movie, really well received movie, really well thought of movie was Into the Spider-Verse. It's the animation, it's everything to do with it. I think mostly what's great about that movie is the style of it, though, to be perfectly honest. I think it's a good Spider-Man story, it's a good story, but it's the style of it that draws.
It's a whole new animation style, yeah.
And you're doing the same for this other movie, so I assume it's going to be the same kind of positive feeling, really.
Yes.
But no, the live action ones haven't been enormous. I think they've made a little. The Venoms have done okay.
The Venom movies have been somewhat successful, but critically
coming after not... Morbius, you're the most laughable movie business thing of the last 10 years, I would say, has been the release, the response, the re-release, and the jokes surrounding Morbius. I find
and the fact that the re-release was a joke came from a joke. It was this meme of it's Morbin time, like the sequel to Morbius, and everyone was including Jared Leto, who like showed a picture of him looking at a script that said Morbius 2, it's Morbin time, and he was just in on the joke, and they thought, oh, people are making this big joke, everyone's in on it. I think that means they want us to re-release Morbius. They re-released Morbius into theaters, and nobody saw it again.
I mean, people say it's the worst superhero movie, certainly this side of fan-forced-ick.
Yeah, I mean, I heard it's super incoherent. It like,
and yeah, potential. Why would I want to see this movie?
And the fact that they're trying to do this weird thing with Adrian Toomes and bring Michael Keaton's Vulture from the MCU, and that's just a confusing thing. Like, it makes no sense. I don't know what they're doing.
I don't know either. I don't know about this Madam Web thing. I like the idea, admittedly, of someone like Adam Scott playing a young Uncle Ben, though, because I think the vibe kind of fits. Yes, Emma Roberts as Peter Parker's mother. We don't really know Peter Parker's mother, so we don't know if that's going to fit. But I always think of Emma Roberts as about 15 years old, so that's a little bit strange
she will forever
to me.
just look like 16 or 17.
And I don't know, like you said, Dakota Johnson's playing actually Madam Web, isn't it? Oh, I think is Sydney Sweeney
from
well?
Euphoria. Yeah, she's like the protege of Madam Web.
I mean, she sounds like a fairly interesting character. Yeah. This kind of all-knowing kind of person.
Yes, so I don't know much about the character or this kind of story that they're following, but it seems to be very much Spider-Versal type things. So obviously trying to play into, well, Spider-Verse was successful, let's do another live-action Spider-Verse. Hey, everyone's gonna care.
Look,
I don't know.
I hope it does. I hope it does do well.
Yeah,
I certainly hope it does do well. I just think you're gonna have to. You're gonna have to have it do well. You're gonna have to have it be a good movie to come off of Morbius with, because if it's anywhere close to that level again, nobody's ever going to see your Spider-Man movies ever again.
Yes,
and that might significant.
Maybe just release it before Spider-Verse. So if it sucks, then at least we'll still have one more thing to look forward to from you.
No, don't do that. Don't do that, because it might ruin the chances of people going to see that movie, because they just see Sony Spider-Man and just go, no, I'm not doing it.
No, but they already know that the first Spider-Verse was so well done. So they're still going to hold true that at least they know how to do that.
I don't know. I would like to think so, but I don't know. I don't know if they would do that. I don't know if people would do that. But it's interesting. It's interesting. I like Adam Scott.
Yes, I do too. I think everybody does.
I always liked him on Parks and Rec. I like Parks and Rec.
He's great. Yeah,
I do. Although I haven't watched that in a long time either.
Yeah,
a long
due for
time.
A rewatch.
Possibly. But then who has the time when I'm watching so many other things all the time?
Yes.
Like Never Have I Ever and other great shows.
Yes.
And with our fantasy battles of September that are shortly upon us.
Oh.
We won't know what to do with ourselves. I will literally be watching those two things and any such analysis,
breakdowns,
discussion shows. It's all gonna. I'm not gonna be watching any other movies apart from things to do with our shows.
Yes.
Any other shows, it's just that, and every little bit of after show that comes in between.
Yes, we have a lot to kind of look forward to and be consumed by.
We certainly do. Dragons.
Yes.
Rings. Elves.
Yes.
Targaryens.
Blondes.
Blonde people. So many blonde people.
Yes.
Yes, we do. Is there anything else, though, that we wanted to bring up, Jeannine, in our What's Up segment?
Well, just to, jump from What's Up to Let's Talk.
Are we in our Let's Talk segment?
Well, look, we're straddling the line.
Straddling the line of the segments.
Yes. I actually...
Title card.
I got to take my nephew to his first theater experience. The other day. He, grew up during COVID quarantine time. So, he didn't get to go out much, do a lot of things, see a lot of things, experience a lot of things, mostly just kind of stuck inside or around the house. And with just us family. So now that kind of we're able to go out and do more things, my sister has definitely been trying to get him out more to experience more things. So of course we did our big Disneyland trip. They just took a trip to Sedona. So he got to go to this animal park and like see snakes and all these kinds of cool animals. So yeah, she's definitely trying to expose him to more things. that he's missed out on. Like, I think for his 4th birthday, we took him this was his first time going to a restaurant. We took him to a teppanyaki restaurant, and he was very kind of nervous because there was fire and he didn't kind of know what to do. And
it's a dangerous restaurant to take a 4-year-old
so he was very
for the
kind
first time.
so he was, he refused to take his hands off his ears. So it's like everything's just kind of a trial and error, but we always want him to just try everything, right?
Yeah.
We took him bowling, and it was a little loud for him, so we had to get him. We have some shooting headphones where it blocks out the loud sounds, but you can still hear people talking. So once we put those on him, he was able to kind of loosen up, and he really had fun with bowling. But at first he was like, I don't know, this is loud, I want to go home. So the movie theater was just another kind of stepping up point into something new for him. And as a kind of the biggest cinephile in my family, I was very excited for Jalen's first movie. He's 4, so he loves DC. He's super obsessed with like Clark Kent right now.
Okay.
Yes, he has his little Clark Kent costume. My sister bought him some like glasses from the grocery store with popped out the lenses. He has this little tie and this little hat. So he's
brilliant.
Like, he says Clark Kent goes into the pantry and then he turns into Superman.
Like proper 40s Clark Kent as well.
Yes, as he has no concept of a phone booth. So it's a pantry because he knows what a pantry is. So
he knows what a pantry is, but he doesn't know what a phone booth is.
Well, there's a pantry in their house, and he
must love food.
Yes, he goes in there, gets his chips and his snacks, and hides in there. And so he knows what the pantry is. But so we saw DC the League of Super Pets. And we did the VIP experience, so there's like a nice little lounge area. You get unlimited ice cream and popcorn, icy soda. So we kind of went a little bit early so we could kind of enjoy the lounge area. And we were sitting down, there's like a big screen in the lounge area just kind of showing previews for movies. And he kind of was all getting comfy there, thinking that's where we were going to watch the movie because he's used to watching movies at home on their big TV, curled up on the couch. But I'm like, no, we're gonna watch the movie on a bigger screen, Jalen. So we get into the theater.
His response must have been a bigger screen.
Yeah, he's like my TV at home. I'm like, no, bigger, Jalen. So we go. He's kind of snuggled in his seat, and like he even like didn't want me eating his popcorn before we got in the movie because he wanted to make sure he had some for the movie. But we get into the movie, and my sister got him pizza, all this stuff. He didn't want to touch anything. He didn't want to eat anything. He kind of just, so I feel like he gets nervous. He has to kind of know what it is he's doing before he can really settle into it. So he's sitting there. He doesn't want to move. He doesn't want to he wants to hold my sister's hand. He wants to hold my hand. He's like kind of just feeling it out. He's a little nervous. He thinks like it's a ride at first. We're like, no, we're just watching a movie like at home.
You're not going on the Pinocchio ride again.
No, which he loves Pinocchio. He loves that movie. And like I said, I think I had mentioned before, he now wants to just watch the YouTube video of that ride.
This is what I said to you when you told you're going to Disneyland story. Jalen will grow up to absolutely love that Pinocchio ride more than any other ride he's ever been on.
Yes, so
100%.
I'm definitely excited to take him back when he's older and kind of see the experience. But yeah, so he definitely was just
take him when he's like 14 and just go like, yeah, Jalen used to be really scared of this.
Yeah,
there's videos of you crying about this and then laugh in his face because that's what we should do with our relatives.
When he turns into a teenager, we're definitely going to make fun of him. But
yes,
he was very hesitant until he kind of realized this is just like a movie at home. He was watching it. The first 10 minutes, he was kind of like, I want to go home. Can we go home? But he was like smiling while he was saying it. So he really started kind of getting into the movie. But then, he got a little distracted, as kids do just in general. They can't sit and watch a whole like hour and a half, whatever movie. So he kind of got up and he said he wanted to sit in my lap. So the last like 30 minutes of the movie, he crawled in my lap and was sitting with me, kind of reading the ABCs of the aisles. Like, what letter is that? That's D. That's like, so, I'm like, watch the movie, Jalen. But luckily, like, we were the only ones in there. It was like us and like one other guy. So we weren't like disturbing anybody.
No.
So ultimately, he ended up enjoying the movie. He liked it. My sister always asks him after an experience, was that a thumbs up? Was that a thumbs down? And he'll give a thumbs up.
Okay.
But it's hard to gauge because we did this Monet or Van Gogh experience where they kind of project all his paintings on these
Yeah.
walls and all of this stuff. And he just he was not having it. He was like, I want to go home. I want to get out. He was freaking out. Like usually he'll
Jalen
kind
does
of
not
settle in.
like art
No,
galleries, Jeannine.
no. So he was freaking out. It was dark in there. He didn't know what was happening. He was like, oh, I want to get like the whole time he was just like whining. And then like we get in the car to leave. My sister was like, thumbs up or thumbs down. He's like, thumbs up. You were whining the whole time. So I don't know how well of a gauge that is. But anyway, I think he had fun and kind of exploring the theater after and everything like that. So I think he had a successful movie theater experience.
Sounds like it.
And yeah, I was happy to be there for that because going to the movies is something I definitely love to do. And that leads us into
our Let's Talk.
Yes.
The title card's already come up at this point. That's why I said title card before. But yes, our Let's Talk today is our own most memorable movie theatre, or as I would say, cinema experiences.
Yes.
Good and bad. Jalen's first movie in a cinema will always be DC's League of Super Pets.
Yes.
And he will be able to say that for his entire life.
Yes.
And this will never change. This is a memorable moment.
Because I
just
don't remember, like, I don't think I remember my first movie. Like, I think
you don't?
No.
I know what mine was.
I don't think I remember my first movie theater experience. I want to say that it was The Lion King. But I mean, I don't know for sure.
Really?
Yes.
You were that? That's not very like young though for you, is it? That's like
no, but it's like that's what I'm saying. I'm like really trying to remember if I saw anything else when I was younger than that, and I just can't.
I went to loads of things between when I was like a young child.
Yeah.
This is what I find weird about my family. Like I remember going to the cinema quite a lot as a child, but we wouldn't like do it at home. Or we wouldn't just like watch movies. And like my mum and dad very rarely talk about movies.
Yes.
If ever. But they still I do remember actually physically going to the cinema for a significant amount of maybe children's movies, animated movies, Disney movies, you know, that kind of stuff.
Oh, you know what? I think it was an American Tail movie.
Okay.
I do remember seeing that in theaters.
I know what mine was. Mine was Disney's Dinosaur from 2000.
Oh gosh.
That was mine.
What?
That was my first ever.
This is really gonna make me feel old, this whole thing.
Movie in a possibly it is, but that was my first ever movie in a theater in a cinema because I was 3 at that point. I loved dinosaurs as a toddler and a very young child, so naturally what you're gonna, you know, there's a big movie about dinosaurs. It's not Jurassic Park, it's probably not gonna scare you that much. Disney movie, even though there's terrifying scenes in that goddamn movie that still haunt me to this day. There's scenes in the rain and the dark and the storm and lightning falling down and the meteor shower. Obviously, it's not. It's not
barely remember that
friendly movie.
Yes,
I significantly remember that movie. I remember the start of it. There's like an Oviraptor who runs around, steals the egg. It's very nice. It's all CG, and to be fair, I haven't watched it in a long time, so I imagine the CG looks absolutely diabolical now. To be honest with you, but I do remember it. I do remember actually seeing it. I actually now go to the same cinema. My regular cinema that I go to now is the same cinema that I saw my first ever movie in.
My cinema was closed down, and it was like not even like I can't even remember a theater without stadium seating, but it was a theater without stadium seating. It was just
really
like straight flat seats.
Okay.
So yes, I would have been maybe 3 when American Tail came out. So I mean, it could have been that.
It could have been.
Or maybe because I do remember seeing Buffy the Vampire Slayer in theaters. That was 92. So
okay.
I don't know. But I just have a ton of just random ones, like from high school. I think I was going to movies more, so I saw Disturbing Behavior with my sister. Um,
Oh,
I know my dad. My dad was kind of in and out of my life growing up, but I know like when he would want to try to spend time with me, he would take me to a movie. He would fall asleep every time, but I could tell that that was like his way of trying to spend quality time with me doing something I loved.
well,
So
Janine,
he
this
would,
is exactly what my dad also does when
yeah.
when we've ever been to the cinema or even tried watching a movie just in the house in the past.
Yes.
It's just
Yeah.
like,
Put on a
oh,
movie.
half an hour's gone, you're asleep. You're asleep again. Elbow, elbow, nudge, nudge.
Yes,
You're
watch the
asleep
movie.
again. I mean, you enjoying this movie? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's
What's
great.
happened? Not sure, to
Oh,
be honest. Brilliant. I'm just
yes.
going to go to bed now. Bye. And that's
Yes.
kind of the situation. I don't know how you can fall asleep in the cinema. I mean,
I
I
know.
understand, but it's too loud, right? Is it not too
I
loud to
mean, it
fall
depends.
asleep?
Now, if you're in those loungy seats, it's kind of easy.
Yeah,
Um,
you do have
but
recliner seats now.
yes. But I remember him taking me to see Dead Man on Campus. Uh,
Okay.
and he was knocked the hell out. I remember seeing City of Angels with my crush at the time, like in junior high. So every time, that Iris Goo Goo Doll song came on, I was
Oh,
like,
for God's
that's
sake.
the song that reminds me of him, because that was like the biggest song from that movie.
And you
Uh,
still think that, don't you, now?
I
All these
mean,
years,
I
all
have
these
I have no,
years
I have
later.
he ended up becoming my boyfriend and dumping me for my best friend.
Oh,
So
that's not nice.
not as fond of memories. Plus City of Angels, that ending just pisses me off. So uh, I remember going to see um Cruel Intentions with one of my friends, and the scene, like, I think we were the only ones in the theater. So
Weird
the scene
movie.
when Reese Witherspoon's going up the escalator and they're playing the Counting Crow song, and Ryan Phillippe's just standing there, I think in a blue shirt. He's wearing a blue shirt. And yes, we were just like, we were just totally like losing it.
Hold on, though. Are you telling me that you have never seen The Cutting Edge in the cinema?
I have not. I've never
That is
seen.
insane to me.
So we will get to a segment where we talk about movies we would have loved to see in the theater, but no, because I was not aware that was one I discovered on home video from the video store.
Okay.
We rented it and watched it at home, and I proceeded. That one and Clueless, I think those were two movies that we had rented before, where I just kind of watched them as many times as I could before we had to take them back to the video store.
Okay.
But another just memorable experience was going to see The Patriot.
The Patriot
with Mel Gibson.
All
me and
these,
my friend. Yes, me and my friend
these
Aniela.
like really, all these movies that. Why would young people go and watch these movies in the cinema?
I think because Heath Ledger was in it, so we were just like, 1776 war movie with Mel Gibson.
Oh yeah.
So, and I was a huge action movie fan. So we go to see this movie, The Patriot. There's a scene where terrible Jason Isaacs kills one of his young sons, kills one of Mel Gibson's young sons, and takes Heath Ledger captive. And Mel Gibson gets his axe and he goes through the woods and he starts just killing all the guys. And it's like this traumatic scene where he's killed his young son. He's kidnapped Heath Ledger. And so he's just wrecking dudes and killing him with this axe and chopping him up. And my friend were just like whisper screaming the whole time, kill him. Yeah. Like, I don't know what happened. We got so savage in the theater. We're just like, yeah, all whispering, get him all. Like, I just remember us freaking out, going crazy when he was just killing all these dudes.
I think you have a hatred of British people naturally, don't you?
Well, I mean, Jason Isaacs was a pretty terrible villain in that movie. But yeah, we were going kind
Did
of
we
nuts.
ever talk about Jason Isaacs playing Cary Grant? Did we talk about that on the last episode?
I believe we did last week. I think we did.
I think we did. There's a little what's up thing for you. Jason Isaacs is going to play Cary Grant.
Yes.
Fun.
So
yeah. I mean, some of my other kind of weirdly memorable ones. Ang Lee's Hulk is a weirdly memorable one for me.
Seeing that in theaters. I just remember them showing that frog blowing up like 3 times. I'm like,
it's a horrendous
showing
movie.
It again.
I mean, I have a weird fondness for it. I do, but I remember that distinctly because I remember going seeing it. This was 2003, so again, I'm not that old at this point. And I remember it was kind of the first time I'd ever stayed up late. It was like a nighttime movie.
Yeah.
And I distinctly remember it being a big thing, and me saying the day after to my dad, because me and my mum went late at night. I don't know what had happened, but me and my mum went to the cinema late. Something might have happened. I don't know. Me and my mum went not late at night, but maybe okay.
But, like, it felt late for you.
Certainly felt late for me, but it must have been probably a 9 o'clock showing or something like that, or a 8:30 showing.
Yeah.
Because I remember saying, I got home at 11 o'clock last night, Dad.
Like,
I got home after you'd go to bed. After you'd gone to bed, I got home. And this is like, what, 6-year-old me?
Oh my gosh.
So I distinctly remember going and seeing Ang Lee's Hulk purely for the fact that it was a late night for Morgan. And that was exciting, apparently. I don't like late nights now. I like going to bed.
Yes, you like to go to bed early.
What else? I remember going and seeing Mike Myers' Cat in the Hat twice because one was a birthday party. Birthday parties at the cinema as well.
Yes,
this was always a thing. You would meet up in the cinema foyer, lobby, whatever you want to call it. Get all your popcorn and things like that. This was back when I actually ate things in the cinema, not like now, where I just get a cup of coffee and I'm on my way.
Yeah.
Ice Age, I also think I saw in the cinema. I always like Ice Age is great as well. Like the first Ice Age is great. The rest of them, I think I've only seen the 2 and 3, but I don't really care about the rest of them. But the first Ice Age is great. I don't think I ever saw Shrek in the cinema. I think that was one I had on VHS. As far as Disney movies go, I actually think the first, because you remember, you've got to think this time of Disney is, not the most favored by people. You would say the cult years, the Treasure Planet years, the Atlantis years, aren't they, really, when I'm a small child? But I do remember going and seeing Brother Bear, which was Disney's Brother Bear, with my own brother, who was obviously even younger than me, and my mum. I remember going and seeing that. I think that was probably the first time that I remember going with my brother. I think there's been very few times since then. I think I've maybe been to watch a movie with my brother 3 times since then. And I think, or 4 times since then, and I think 3 of them were Star Wars movies.
Well, something similar happened when my sister, obviously, when we went to take my nephew, like she was kind of confused about certain things at the movies, and I had to explain to her stuff. And I was like, "When was the last time you saw a movie?" And I'm pretty sure it was when we saw Black Panther, when she was pregnant with my nephew, so 4 years ago.
That's a lot,
at the theater.
Really.
Yes.
I mean, speaking of this, my mum and dad actually went to go and see Elvis recently. And that was the first time they'd been since COVID. That was the first, since I think Christmas 2019, when they went watching that Emilia Clarke Christmas movie.
Oh, okay. My mom will rarely kind of just want to go see a movie with me. So I remember she couldn't go to our big family Black Panther thing. So she just asked me to go with her. So then with the second time I saw Black Panther, it was just her and me. So it was nice, getting to watch this movie with my mom. And
that's got to probably be your biggest, most memorable movie going experience, hasn't it?
Yes, that's definitely up there. That's number 1 on my list, maybe top 3 or 4. But yeah, I think also The King's Speech. She was just like, I wanted to see
The King's Speech.
So her and me randomly watched The King's Speech together. Yes.
Weird.
She actually called me the other day and says, "Do you know what the Woman King is?" I'm like, "Yes, Mom."
Yes.
So we need to go. So she's is already booking plans because she wants to see the one.
Okay.
She's actually excited for the Woman King.
I
So I'm
like
like, okay,
this.
Mom, okay.
I am
So and then of
also
course we're gonna
excited
do a
about that
whole
movie.
big
Yeah, I
Black
think that movie
Panther
looks great.
situation again in November. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yes, but yeah, I mean, I remember seeing Honey, I Blew Up the Kid. I remember that was kind of a fun one to see.
Honey,
We
I
got
blew up. Not Honey,
posters.
I Shrunk the Kids.
No, Honey, I Blew Up the Kid.
Honey, I
And
blew up the
I
kids.
believe that movie mentions Fresno, so it's another like, yeah, Fresno.
Did you? I imagine you all sat there just going,
yes, whenever
Fresno. Yeah,
and the whole audience.
Fresno.
No, I'm telling you, when I saw Captain America, the first Avenger, and the Asian guy, they like ask him like to speak in Japanese or whatever, and he's like, I'm from Fresno, and everyone was like, our stupid town is like, we're being mentioned in this major MCU movie. Yeah. But I mean, even
it is
just
very
doing
stupid.
those kinds of marathons, like before the MCU was huge, like you would watch all the MCU movies up to the new one coming out. Those were fun. I actually have my little lanyards here from Twilight marathon.
Yes.
Those were always fun. And the Hunger Games marathon.
Okay.
Actually, and then of course I've shared my little night bus Lego that I got when we went to see Prisoner of Azkaban. So
I think Prisoner of Azkaban was actually my first Harry Potter movie in a cinema.
Mine as well. I've watched the first two on DVD.
So did I. Which is weird. Because look at the time they came out. Was I not? Maybe I wasn't fully into Harry Potter when I was like,
yeah,
but I suppose it is quite early, isn't it? Really, in my life,
is.
The movies.
When I was
to start reading Harry Potter, I suppose that was probably a little later on.
Yeah. But yeah, like, because I think I saw the first DVD at my friend's house. Her parents had bought it, and so we were watching it. And I remember thinking it was so cool, and like she wanted to go play outside. I was like, I want to watch this. Yeah. So I stayed inside and watched Harry Potter. She was just doing whatever, like playing.
I remember distinctly. The last 3 books coming out and talking about and reading them and talking about them with my school friends.
Yeah.
I remember distinctly that because I think was Order of the Phoenix book about 2005. And the movie was 2007, I think. This seems about right for me to start getting into
the books. Yeah.
Into the books.
Because mine was the similar thing with Twilight. I remember, I think I was reading Eclipse when the first Twilight movie came out, and it was like the midnight screening, and I just went by myself. So I'm sitting in the lobby waiting in the long line for the midnight screening, and I'm sitting in the line just reading my Eclipse, waiting to get into the first Twilight movie.
Okay.
And like that, I just loved being a part of that whole era. Like, I know it's corny and cheesy, but just like the energy of that franchise, and like it was the first kind of book series I had read in my whole life, so I felt very like accomplished because I don't read like that.
Yeah.
The fact that something kind of intrigued me and made me read, like I have just great memories of coming home from my college classes and just getting in bed and like opening this book and just reading for hours and and then take a nap. And then so it was like, picturing the characters in my head, and then the movies kind of bringing that to life and that whole thing. So yes, as ridiculous as those movies are, it just kind of, it was a great, fun, exciting time. It was like a time where I felt accomplished in doing something that I don't normally do. And
queuing up outside the cinema.
Yes, and I miss those days of just marathons and kind of the camaraderie of the movie theater experience. Same thing kind of, like with things like the Hunger Games and Harry Potter and seeing people dressed up. And I remember when we went to see the Order of the Phoenix, and people just shout out things and you just kind of are all watching it together. So when Cho kisses Harry, some girl was like, "You're a hoe, Cho." And I remember
that's a bit unfair,
right?
On poor Cho Chang.
Terrible. And when we watch the Hunger Games and the marathon, and they do the whistle and they put the fingers up, like like a bunch of people in the crowd you can see doing that
No,
too.
for God's sake.
Like,
I mean,
oh
I
my
like
God.
it. I do like it to a point. I do.
But yeah, but it's kind of and like these girls
Things
like
like that.
mouthing all the lines. Like I can see the people next to me. May the odds forever be in your
Oh,
favor. Like
dear.
you know,
Things
eye
like
rolling.
that. I don't
You
think I've had too many of these camaraderie kind of experiences, to be honest. I do remember the first movie I ever queued outside the screen to go into, though, which was Rocky Balboa.
wow.
So Rocky
Okay.
6.
Okay.
The original Legacy sequel. No,
Yes.
well, it kind of is,
Yeah.
because the Rocky was a franchise that my
Been long since done for a minute. Yeah.
well, yeah, but it's also one of these ones that my dad likes, and my dad wants to, here, let's watch Rocky. Yeah, Rocky.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
As a child, so we went watching. I think I'd watched. I don't even know if I'd even watched a Rocky movie at this point. But I just remember us all going watching Rocky Balboa and queuing up outside, because it was absolute opening day, like
Oh.
absolute
Okay.
first showing, and there was queues, and I just remember distinctly a queue. I said, "What are those
Well, I had a
people
great
queuing up for over there?" It's like, we're gonna get into that queue, going watching Rocky Balboa. I'm just
okay.
literally picturing my dad walking around going, he's just looking like an idiot.
Getting all excited. I had a similar thing just in the fact that like I had never seen any of the Rocky movies. So like the before Creed came out, one Thanksgiving season, like we just sat down and watched all the Rocky movies, and it was my first time watch, and I was really like, oh my gosh, this is great. I was really getting into it, and then we went to the theater and saw Creed, and it was just like this kind of fun full circle
Yeah.
experience, and
Well,
really
Creed and Creed 2 are also movies that I went seeing with my dad. I think my brother went as well to those, actually.
Yeah.
And definitely the newer Star Wars movies. So
Oh yes, you are a prequel stan.
no, not the prequels. Not the prequels. I think the only prequel movie I saw in the cinema was Revenge of the Sith. I don't think I saw the others.
Okay.
Well, I wouldn't have seen The Phantom Menace because that's 99, and my first movie experience was in 2000, as we've already discussed.
Yes, established.
So I watched Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones after I'd seen Revenge of the Sith, I believe, which is a weird thing to do, isn't it? That's
yeah.
a weird thing
Well,
to do.
the whole point of Morgan Hasn't Seen was the fact that the first MCU movie you saw was Captain America, the first Avenger.
Which is a great movie theater experience, a great cinema experience, but...
Yeah, Fresno, yeah!
Yeah, Fresno, yeah, sure, okay. But... what was I talking about now? Yeah, the Star Wars movie. So I'm talking Force Awakens on. Okay. So Force Awakens, Rogue One, Last Jedi, and not Solo, but Rise of Skywalker. I went to those all with my dad and my brother, I think. I think my brother was at them all.
Yeah,
He was
those were the first
definitely
Star
at
Wars
some
movies
of
I
them.
saw. Those were the first Star Wars movies I saw in the theater because I was not like a big fan.
It might have been. It might have been, to be honest. I assume I saw Revenge of the Sith in the cinema, but I may very well have not have done. But I certainly remember watching that movie before the others.
Okay.
So I may very well not have done. But there was a camaraderie feeling. Remember 2015 when everybody loved Star Wars?
Yes.
That was fun, wasn't it?
I actually had that in watching Dirty Dancing. They did a re-release, and so we were trying to think of something to do for my friend's birthday. So I'm like, oh, they're re-releasing Dirty Dancing in theaters. Let's go. So we went to watch it, and it was like a full ass theater, and like it was just so fun. Everyone was singing the songs, everyone was dancing, doing the moves. They were like yelling at the screen when like that stupid guy is hitting on her, like the loser guy. Is hitting on Baby, and we're like, yeah, get out of here, you suck. Like, you know, anytime there was like swooning moments with Johnny, we were like, ooh! Like everyone in the theater was like, ooh!
Okay.
And like the whole like end dance number, we were like dancing, and all at the same time we're all nobody puts baby in the corner. Like it was just this very much like camaraderie, because it's not like you're disturbing anybody, because everyone who's there has seen the movie. So
I've only actually ever been to one re-release or special release, and one Christmas me and somebody else who shall remain nameless for no sinister reasons, but whatever. It was a date. Went watching It's a Wonderful Life.
Oh.
That was one. That was the only time I've actually been watching a
movie that's already
a special release.
I've done it a few times. I saw Ghostbusters. They did a re-release for the anniversary before the Afterlife came out. So like, how much I love Ghostbusters. So it was great to kind of see that on the big screen. I got to see Scream in a re-release. That was amazing as well to see.
I Tell a Lie.
Oh, you remember
I Tell
another
a
one?
Lie. Because there was other ones, but they were at festivals.
Oh, okay.
And probably absolutely one of my all-time favorite. In fact, it might actually be the best cinema experience I've ever actually had.
Oh, that's a big statement.
Was at Grimfest Horror Film Festival in 2018.
I remember when you did that.
Watching Re-Animator with Barbara Crampton.
Oh, yes.
In a absolutely heaving cinema screen full of insane horror fans.
Yeah.
Watching a movie like Re-Animator. You're just getting all the greatness. And then having Barbara Crampton come up before, come up after, and then meet and greet outside.
Yeah.
That was probably my favorite single movie theater cinema experience. But it was at a festival, so it was a whole kind of 5-day period of all this kind of stuff going on generally.
Yeah. The closest I think I got was went to a test screening, and I wasn't sure what it was for, and it turned out to be Terminator Dark Fate. And the director was actually there, and I got to meet him. I think he's the same guy who directed Deadpool, the first Deadpool movie. So that was kind of cool. And like, of course, they asked us like what we thought. Like the effects weren't finished yet. So that's why like I think I have an affinity for Dark Fate a little bit more than most people.
I didn't mind that movie.
Yes, I thought they continued the story well in terms of like the other really awful sequels that just were not good or just really muddied up the timeline and did weird things with the time travel. I think this one really kind of worked with the time stuff that was set up in the first two films really well. And kind of was able to work within that kind of time frame really well. And, I thought, the technology of the Terminator was really cool. I liked how they reincorporated Arnold's Terminator in there. Linda Hamilton was great. So yeah, it was fun kind of getting to be at this test screening. And they had told us that we were the first theater ever to see this movie. So just feeling special, and the fact that it's a Terminator movie, and the whole point of like Judgment Day being my birthday movie, and being the machine, and like the fact that the first Terminator is like this really cool like kind of unexpected horror movie. Like when you told me that, it totally blew my mind, and I was just like, so I always think of that.
It wasn't that of an in-depth analysis, really.
It wasn't. I'm just dumb, and like I didn't even think about it until you said that, and just.
It is a slasher movie.
Seeing it in the eyes of a slasher movie just like elevated it 10 times fold for me. Like it was crazy. So as a horror fan and realizing this techie sci-fi movie is also a horror movie was just like such a cool idea. So I really have love for, the Terminator movies, the first two really. And so in getting to like get to be a part of the first test screening, and it's a Terminator movie, and the director's there, and Tim Miller, I think his name Tim Miller, and so just a great kind of surprise experience actually getting to watch the movie with the people who made the movie. And
it's always good. It's the thing I've enjoyed the most about when I've gone to festivals in the past. When I've covered festivals in the past, it's watching the movies with the people that have made them, and then hearing what they have to say about them before and after. It's really interesting. Even when the movie's like not great, even when it's just like, okay, that was okay. There's things I liked in that movie. Wasn't my favorite movie ever, but then hearing what the filmmakers behind the film, whether it's the actors, the director, whoever, hearing what they have to say about making it just makes you appreciate it more.
A lot more. Yeah, definitely.
It really, really does.
And like
those festivals are
yeah, I remember
outstanding
you doing a lot of that.
for
Rewatching films that you
experiences.
Never really. Yeah. I've always just kind of been bummed in all the times I've gone to LA, like I didn't get one of those surprise screenings where like all the actors show up. So like,
yeah.
But I did have a fun experience going to see I think it was Infinity War. Was it Endgame? I think it was Infinity War, and I dressed like Shuri.
Okay.
And I got to see that at the Cinerama Dome thing that's not there.
Oh well, I would have very much liked to go and see a movie like Avengers Endgame or Infinity War at the Cinerama Dome that is no longer open, but I think it is still there. Is it not still there?
It's still there. Yes,
on
I
display?
think so. Yes.
But
so,
the one movie I've ever gone and seen at the biggest screen ever, and one of the most famous cinemas in the entire world, when I was in LA, Jeannine, you were there as well, which I deeply regret that the one movie I've ever seen in that incredibly famous cinema was The Meg from 2018, and not anything remotely respectable in terms of what a movie is. It was that.
Yes,
and it will always be that, unfortunately.
Boo.
Although there's a great movie, there was great movie theatre, great cinema experiences when I was in LA for that period of time.
I remember seeing Bohemian Rhapsody at the Gromans Theater.
Okay.
So it was fun kind of finally going there and being on the Walk of Fame, or not, the Walk of Fame, but the cement handprints and all that stuff.
Yes,
and footprints. And so, yeah, it was cool seeing. And then like there's kind of a museum in there, so you get to kind of look at different costumes and things like that. So it was really cool seeing a movie there. But yes, I think my most memorable experiences were probably maybe Mortal Kombat. I remember being so hyped on that movie. I remember after that movie, I went to the bathroom, and in the stall, I'm literally just like acting out Christopher Lambert's "I don't think so."
Oh, for God's sake.
I remember doing that. Me and my brother were just so hyped and like fist pumping. Dun, 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 dun. Like we were.
What was the dance I did on our Mortal Kombat?
I think it was just like a lot of
it was so intense.
Yes, and so me and my brother were hyped, like, because we played the video game, so we were just like so hyped on that movie. I just remember just sharing that with him, and I was just like, yeah, like just being excited, no matter how corny that we were just loving every minute.
Movie.
Just the most happy movie experience, I think.
Okay, I like that.
And then my first drive-in experience, seeing a double feature of Con Air and Face Off. Two epic Nick Cage movies, just ridiculous back to back. And I just remember, oh my gosh, this was so cool. Like the action was ridiculous, and just seeing Nick Cage. And I think I remember developing like this, weird crush on him after watching those two movies. Con Air, another movie that mentions Fresno. So,
but which movie's better?
I think Con Air is
Face Off's definitely better.
I think Con Air is a better movie, like story-wise.
Possibly.
But Face Off is a better, just ridiculous watch.
Face Off's definitely more watchable for me.
Yes. Con Air is a better, like, actual, like, trying to make a story.
Yeah.
Face Off is a better, just, like, watching experience because it's ridiculous. But seeing them back to back was just kind of epic. And it's the drive-in, so you're like, how cool the concept of watching a movie, and you hear it on your car, and it's like on this giant screen, and oh my gosh, and getting snacks and being with your family, and it's just like this whole kind of experience.
Well, and then obviously you alluded to it before.
Yes,
in my watch. No, in my watch. Sorry, I was talking about the drive-in. In my watching of the MCU, and the reason Morgan hasn't seen came to be was the first movie of the MCU that I ever watched was Captain America: The First Avenger, because that was in a drive-in in Barstow, California.
Oh, see, that's very close to me.
We were on a road trip.
Yeah, Barstow is
and it
pretty
was
close.
me, my parents, and my brother watching Captain America. What's on at the cinema? Let's go to a drive-in cinema. What's on? Captain America. Okay, I guess. I had no concept of the MCU or Captain America at this point in my life, to be perfectly honest with you.
Well, that would be a good
really
one to
focus
start
on
with,
it.
considering it's not super connected to anything until like the end credit
didn't
scene.
focus on it at all. So
yeah,
and we definitely didn't stay for the end credit scene. Let me just tell you that right now.
just drove off.
So
be perfect.
I distinctly remember this my one and only drive-in cinema experience.
Awesome.
I do not want it to be my one and only.
I know they close in the drive-in here, so I know there's one. I think that Barstow one is still like the only one around, like close by. Or there's one in Madera, which is like 40 minutes away. So I would love to do a drive-in thing again.
But yeah, Captain America, the first Avenger. I also remember when I went watching, it was on the same actual family holiday that I was watching the first Avenger. But it was a few days before because we were doing this road trip from Vegas to LA, which is why we go through like places like Barstow.
Yes.
And I think we went through Palm Springs and other such places like that, Death Valley. But I remember watching on the Las Vegas Strip Deathly Hallows Part 2.
Oh.
So my one time watching the finale of Harry Potter in the cinema was actually in Vegas.
So that's cool. So like you can have these like geographical memories of watching movies in different places. Like I think the only place I've watched a movie outside of my home was like in LA. I don't think I've ever watched a movie like in another country
when you've been on holiday.
Yes, or another state or something. Yeah, because it's like you could watch a movie anywhere. I'm gonna waste my vacation going because like I wanted to go watch a movie with you when I was there. And you were like, no, that's stupid.
No, there's other things to do. It's a waste of time.
Which you were right, but it's like that's our thing.
Yes, it is. And
all we did was watch movies when you were here. So.
It's true. It is true.
I should have thrown that in your face.
And there was a lot of wonderful experiences that I had watching movies when I was in LA. But another actually, and I'd forgotten about this as well. I really did tell a lie when I was talking about It's a Wonderful Life being the only older movie I've ever gone and seen, because I think a really enjoyable cinema experience for me was going to watch Rudy for the first time with Brandon Hannah.
Yes.
At the AMC Burbank it was at. That's where it was at. That I can picture. I know exactly what that place looks like and that little kind of shopping district around it. I know exactly where that is. But yeah, that was very enjoyable. That was a nice. Went to a baseball game the following day. It was a very enjoyable weekend.
I remember
when I was in LA, but yeah, I remember doing that. That was fun.
That's great.
That was fun.
So yeah, I think you did mention earlier, like probably my top movie theater experience was going to see Black Panther with my family. And like I said, my family, they're not huge movie watchers. Like that's just not something we do together as a family. I'm kind of like the one who like is obsessed with movies. So the fact that we all went together as a family when Black Panther was coming out, I was designing a bunch of different Black Panther designs. So my family actually bought a bunch of shirts of my different designs. So we all wore my shirts and went to the theater as a family and watched this movie and just celebrated it. And like even them who aren't like huge MCU people, like maybe my brother, because him and me have this whole thing growing up watching, the comic book animated shows and reading comic books together and, having this whole kind of superhero nerd bond, him and me. So he's kind of kept up with that. So him and me kind of were the only ones who maybe were aware of like the outer MCU. Everyone else was kind of like, whatever. But the fact that like they're not MCU fans, they're not even huge movie fans, but that like they saw the importance of this movie and wanted to see it without even having the context of everything else. And them still even enjoying it without the context of really anything else besides the little important nuggets that I could give them, before and after watching the movie. So them loving the music and the costumes and the characters and just the story and just seeing all this Black excellence on screen and how they saw the importance of that, and us just seeing a movie together as a family, which is something, like I said, we never do. Was just so special, and them just all wearing my Black Panther designs, and it was just an event, and I've never really had that before. So even it was just kind of like taking my nephew to this first movie. It was like a couple of us in the family, so it was an event kind of thing again. So yeah, those are kind of the most memorable moments when you can make watching a movie an event like that, because I think that's kind of the purpose of the theater. So
it is. It really is. That's why I'm going to go out and say Re-Animator for me.
Yeah, that's a super cool.
Or Force Awakens, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, I mean, that movie made me kind of really intrigued by Star Wars and want to know more about the universe and go back and really delve into the other films.
It's a shame what
came after that.
What came after it in a
yeah.
fandom sense.
Yes.
It's a shame what came after it in a fandom sense, because
it was just very
before
crazy.
Weeks leading to the release of Force Awakens was unbelievably exciting, and then watching it in just such an atmospheric, ram-packed screen.
Yeah.
Like a big screen in Manchester. It's just
really cool.
Just really just great. Going with my dad and my brother as well. It was wonderful.
Yeah.
It was wonderful that.
So
bad ones though. Bad ones though. I just wanted to mention a few of these.
Yeah.
There's not great, but I remember distinctly being incredibly annoyed when I went watching Midsommar, because there was a bunch of people laughing all the time, and it made me stop going to watch movies at night a lot and going in the middle of the day. Like, I hate watching movies in the school holidays, when the schools are off.
Oh yeah, because then all the kids are off and they're being obnoxious. Like, I saw the Nicolas Cage movie, The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, and these teenage girls who probably have no concept of Nicolas Cage were all just in the front row giggling at everything. Like like it would be a funny moment, like the audience would chuckle, but then they would keep just laughing really loud and exaggerated. They were throwing popcorn at each other. They were on their phones. They kept getting up and leaving and coming back in all loud, hitting each other, slapping each other. Oh my gosh, answering their phones, looking at their phones. So it was really frustrating. And then I think I saw in LA, I was watching Halloween, the 2018, and these girls were kicking the seats and being loud and throwing things. It was just like, or people bringing their kids and like to movies that they really shouldn't be bringing their kids to. Oh, that's the worst. Like, you just have to know, if you have made this choice to become a parent, know that you probably aren't going to be able to do all of the things that you used to do as a parent. Like, so don't take your kid to some bloody, gory movie where they're going to scream and freak out. And,
it's why I don't massively remember going to movies where like young children have caused real problems. I mean, when not that long ago at all, obviously, when Lightyear came out, when I went watching Lightyear, it was a very quiet screening.
Yeah, but
to
I mean,
be
if
honest
it's a
with you,
kids movie, I'm gonna understand if a kid is there and a kid is having a freak out, whatever, that is fine.
And that is exactly what was
happening
happening with this one
Texas
particular
Chainsaw Massacre or something, and you have your baby in there and they're freaking out, like,
it was perfectly understandable at a screening of Lightyear. I remember watching Finding Dory, and it being quite similar in that sense. These are movies that, yes, okay, we don't expect it, but we don't.
We understand.
We understand. We understand that, yes, there are children going to be watching this movie, and yes, obviously, children don't always love sitting down and watching a movie for 90 minutes,
100%,
100 minutes, absolutely. But 15-year-olds watching Midsummer and laughing at everything is just inappropriate. And I wanted to literally get up and throw them out of the place myself.
Yeah.
And other actually not bad experience, I suppose. That is a really particularly memorable one for me because it just grated me because I was really enjoying this movie.
Yeah.
And I really do enjoy that movie. It's why I always try and pick the times I go or pick the places I go and watch movies very specifically. So I'm not being bombarded with people who may not actually really want to see this movie they're actually seeing. But you speak about how great an experience going watching Black Panther was for you. I remember my Black Panther screening broke and I had to run into another screening to actually get the start of the movie.
Oh my gosh.
Like there was a dude came in, he was like, sorry, like at a pretty full screening of Black Panther in this one, where I was at. We can't get the screen to work. I was like, we were looking at our, phones and the time and things like that. We're saying, this was supposed to, the ads were supposed to come on 15 minutes ago. What's going on here?
Yeah.
Somebody comes in, the screen's not working. It is showing it's about to start in this other number screen. So as much of us as possible rammed into this screen, got any seat we could. So I remember watching Black Panther
and
in an incredibly packed screen, having missed nothing of the movie, but in a really bad seat.
Oh yeah, just not where you wanted to be.
Not a great seat at all. When I had, obviously gone for a reason. This was not assigned seating at this point either. This was not assigned seating either.
Okay.
So I'd gotten there and some time in advance to get a nice
just to
central,
get a good seat and
and be thrown off.
Oh, that sucks.
So that was bad. And also actually Scream 5 earlier this year. The movie kept freezing. How does this happen? The movie on the same scene it was so the movie was I forget exactly what scene it was. A scene in a kitchen. That's a lot of scenes in Scream 5, really, isn't it? But it was a scene in a kitchen. It wasn't overly long into the movie. It was before Dewey's death. I think it was actually before we even got Dewey again. I think. But it was playing, and then it just stopped playing. It was as though somebody had pressed pause. It was as though somebody had pressed pause, and then the screen went black, and everybody went, oh, and then somebody went out and goes and gets whoever. They come in and say, right, what we're going to do is we're going to try again. So they replayed the 30 seconds before, and it did the same thing. And they did it again, and it did the same thing.
Oh no!
So I was like, oh, for God's sake! The woman comes back in. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to just skip ahead 30 seconds in the movie. So you might miss 30 seconds of this movie.
Oh no!
So we did that, and the rest of the movie was absolutely fine, but we got a little free ticket thing.
Okay. So I actually got a lucky situation, I guess, if you want to say. I went to see Indiana Jones 4.
Oh, good.
Crystal Skull, right? And the movie ended up stopping and cutting out like halfway through the movie. And it took them at least 15-20 minutes to get it back going. So yeah, I ended up not having to pay for that movie because
that's good.
They gave us all like
we don't want
tickets.
to pay for that.
Yeah, so yes, while I had to endure that movie, it messed up halfway through. So then we all got like either a refund or a free ticket. So I was like, okay.
I also did want to actually mention before we start our fun and games, a cinema experience that wasn't actually anything to do with watching a movie. It was actually at the birthday party where I watched Mike Myers' The Cat in the Hat for the second time. One of the movies. I don't go to the movies twice for the same movie a great deal. I think I've only been a handful of times, and one of them will always be Mike Myers' The Cat in the Hat. Now, stupid. I do remember going watching the Scooby-Doo movie for one of my own birthdays,
yes,
though.
I remember you mentioning that.
But yes, this cinema experience that wasn't actually watching a movie was at this birthday party. The Cat in the Hat one. You had a tour of the cinema, all around the back, around the back of the back cinema, the projection rooms, the storage rooms. It's all a bit weird, right? But like, this doesn't happen anymore. You can't just do this, can you? You can't just go to the cinema and say, I want to have my birthday party at the cinema and go on a tour. They'd laugh in your face. You wouldn't be allowed that, would you?
Like the birthday party is just a room. You book a little room and you can have your little birthday party there at the theater and then go see a movie. Or you can actually like go through the trouble of like booking a cinema, like and they'll play.
Yeah.
They'll have like a list of movies that they can play for you, and you can like book out a theater to do.
No, but this was a weird tour situation, and I just really remember this tour because I must have been really interested in this tour. But I remember at the end of the tour, we were saying, right now we're going to go into the basement. Going into the basement. People, for one, places don't have basements in Britain. Really, we're going to go into the basement now, where we've actually been lying to you about how the movies get put on the screens.
What?
So in order to power these projectors, little children run on bikes like hamsters and energize up the projectors, so the projectors can play movies. Can play the movies on the screens. So we're going to go in there now. So they were making a whole big joke about how they'd kept weird slave children to wind up the projectors for the movies. We're going to go through this door now. This sinister looking door. We're going to go through this sinister looking door now. This was in the backs of the cinema. This is a dark corridor,
so weird.
right?
Why are you going to freak out some kids?
We're going to go through this, and it's going to be a projection room. Where you're all going to get on these little hamster wheels, and this is where you're going to be kept now.
That is terrifying.
And all it literally was just a maintenance door back into the whole the cinema lobby. So we just we went through this door, and bright lights, cinema lobby, popcorn machine. It was just like, oh, I wanted to go into the hamster wheel. And I distinctly remember thinking, I want to go into the hamster wheel. I've been let down.
They knew they had no experience to sell, so they just like, we're just going to trick them.
I've been let down. I thought,
they're getting their money's worth.
I want to go and into a hamster wheel to energize a projector.
That is so stupid.
And I don't know why I thought that, but it is very stupid. I remember that distinctly.
Oh my gosh, that's insane. Why would they tell children that?
Movie theater experiences, Jeannine, that is what this Let's Talk has been.
Well, Morgan, just to close that out, what movie do you wish you would have been able to see on the big screen, or wish to maybe one day hopefully see on the big screen?
I mean, it's a tough question, really, isn't it? It's a tough question. I think it depends, because I'm the kind of person that hates... I mean, I say Re-Animator was a great experience for me. I think it was because it was a very respectful experience. So I think like communal experiences for a special release would be quite fun, because everybody's there to watch the movie. You know, nobody's going to be just messing around or causing unnecessary noise or anything like that, which is just I hate that. So I'm either going with actually something like Bugsy Malone. I would love to do like a sing-song communal thing of Bugsy Malone. I think that'd be great. Or I would like to be on my own on an enormous screen watching Sunset Boulevard.
Oh,
because I just think that'd be in the absolute best possible format. Best like remastering, if you want to call it, but an authentic remastering. Say if I was to actually put like a really good 4K Blu-ray of Sunset Boulevard, and have it play appropriately on an enormous cinema screen, and I would just be on my
really
own.
Cool. Yeah,
I'd like something like that as well.
That'd be really cool.
Or the stupid sing-song Bugsy Malone.
I would love to do a Scream like marathon at the theater. I actually got to see Scream on the big screen. They did a re-release for the first time. And I wore my Tatum Sky pajamas and went to go see Scream on the big screen. So that was really special because I love that movie. It's my favorite. But to do a whole kind of marathon at the theater like I did with Twilight and all these other things with Scream, I think would be really cool because there's so many people who love this franchise. So I think it would be a great kind of communal experience. And then Jurassic Park. I don't think I ever saw Jurassic Park on a big screen like that. So I think that would be really cool. And of course, the cutting edge.
Yes, of course, the cutting edge. I'm offended actually that you haven't seen The Cutting Edge on a big screen. It is your favorite movie of all time, and it came out in a year that you could have most likely have gone to see. I could have seen it in the theater,
but I didn't discover it until it was on VHS video and rented it from the video store.
Silly, Jeannine. Silly. A wonderful Let's Talk discussion in this week's episode, Jeannine, but I do think it's about time for some fun and games.
Ooh, okay.
Do you? I think we have an interesting fun and games this week. It might not be the longest fun and games we've ever done, but I think it's very, very interesting fun and games.
Yes.
This week. Because, Jeannine, well, what are we going to do?
We are going to ask each other what the number one movie of a certain year was at the box office. So we have to guess. And,
this is going by US domestic because Jeannine is offensive to the rest of the world.
It's just easier, okay?
It is just easier to find. Yes, it is.
Yes. So each of us have picked 2 decades, and we picked 2 years from those decades, and we will ask what was the number one movie of that year. The other has to guess. They will get 2 points for a straight out guess, and then 1 point if they have to check down to a multiple choice. Yes. And then we'll close out with a fun bonus question.
Yes. So I have the 70s and the 80s. Yes. Jeannine has the 90s and the 2000s.
Of course.
Of course. And of course for me, because, you know, you could have given me the 30s and the 40s, but it may have been somewhat inaccurate because movies played for either a stupid length of time or were like, let's show this movie for an entire year and then not again for 3 years, but then again for 2 more years in weirdly 6 years after the movie first came out. And it was just a bit of a strange way of showing movies, but it meant that you could see it. It basically meant that people in the 30s could go to the movies and see the same movie about 18 times. But this 18 times would be like in 3-week periods. So you'd go and then 3 weeks after you'd go and watch the same movie, and it would just play for over a year continuously.
Yes.
Fun. But we have 2 years from each decade. And Jeannine, would you like to answer first or ask first?
I will answer first, as usual.
Answer first. Okay, so Jeannine, for 2 points to start, 1 point if you require a multiple choice option. Okay. I would like you to tell me the US domestic highest grossing movie of 1973.
Ooh. See, I don't even know. Like, why did I do this to myself?
It was your decision to play this game.
I am aware, but I don't know what came out in the early 70s.
It was also your decision to give me the 70s and the 80s.
I know. Multiple choice, please.
Multiple choice. Multiple choice. The multiple choice options are Live and Let Die, The Sting, The Exorcist, or American Graffiti.
Ooh. I'm going to go with The Exorcist.
It is The Exorcist. How on earth did The Exorcist become the number one movie?
I don't know.
Who was taking their children to watch
to go
The
see
Exorcist?
that movie to get those numbers up?
The Exorcist is indeed, for 1 point for Jeannine,
Yay.
the highest grossing US domestic movie of 1973.
So you'll do better at this because you were good at release dates. Morgan, what was the highest grossing movie of 1995?
1995 in US domestic. It might be that. It might be that. I mean, that's going to be a big one, isn't it? Really. 95, or it might be that, actually. Ooh. I'm going to go multiple choice because I think it's always safer, unless you absolutely know it.
Okay. Is it A, Batman Forever, B, Apollo 13, C, Toy Story, or D, Pocahontas?
Well, I'm going to go with the one of the two that I was thinking it was. One of them isn't on your multiple choice, but one of them was Toy Story.
That is incorrect.
What is it?
My favorite movie in the 6th grade, Batman Forever.
No, it wasn't Batman Forever. I was thinking it might be like Braveheart or something like that as well. Batman Forever, really? Okay. Fair play, Batman Forever, for being the number one movie, beating out Toy Story. How's it done that? How has it done that? Oh, well, Jeannine, let's go into the 80s, shall we?
Okay.
So I would like you to tell me the highest grossing US domestic movie of 1987.
Like, again, I don't know what came that year, so I'm just going to go to multiple choice.
Your multiple choice are 3 Men and a Baby.
Ooh.
Beverly Hills Cop 2. Fatal Attraction. And Lethal Weapon.
Ooh. Can you run through those again, please?
I can run through those again. They were 3 Men and a Baby. Fatal Attraction. Beverly Hills Cop 2. And Lethal Weapon.
Ooh. It's got to be between the two action ones. I'm going to go... Lethal Weapon was pretty big. But I don't know, that was like Eddie Murphy getting into his like peak highest powers. It was a sequel. Ugh. I'm gonna go with Lethal Weapon.
It was Beverly Hills Cop 2.
Damn it! You messed me up with your
I did.
Now. I hate you.
That's called tactics, Jeannine.
You're the worst.
I might be the worst.
Should have gone with my gut.
Well.
Bet on black.
Always. Well, yeah, okay. Well, Danny Glover's in Lethal Weapon. Danny Glover's black too. Not just Eddie Murphy.
Fair point.
Yes,
but he was the single lead. He was not a
He was the single lead. Yes, Eddie Murphy, yes.
Okay. What was the highest grossing movie in the year 2000?
2000 itself. Oh, it could be. It could be, but it might not be, because what else came in 2000? Give me the multiple.
Is it A, The Perfect Storm, B, The Gladiator, C, How the Grinch Stole Christmas, or D, Mission Impossible?
Mission Impossible was 2000. I thought Mission Impossible was before 2000. Is that not Mission Impossible 2? I'm sure Mission Impossible was 96. But again, I thought it might be one of your options there, but then I'd be really confused if it was one of them.
Sorry, it was Mission Impossible 2.
Mission Impossible 2. Mission Impossible 2. Which makes me now question whether it is actually Mission Impossible 2 or not. But I am going to go with what I said at the start, which was a gut feeling, which was Gladiator.
That is incorrect.
Was it
It was
Mission Impossible
actually
2?
How the Grinch Stole Motherfucking Christmas.
Wow.
Insane,
I'm not surprised because it's a family movie.
Yeah, so he rolled in that extra.
I'd have been
dollars.
really confused if it had been the perfect storm. I just wanted to say that.
Yes.
Well, Jeannine, I would like you to tell me the highest grossing US domestic movie of 1971. Please.
Multiple choice, please.
Multiple choice. Fiddler on the Roof, Billy Jack, Summer of 42, or Diamonds Are Forever.
What? It's a tough one.
I think it is a tough one, actually.
Diamonds Are Forever.
Jeannine, the correct answer is Billy Jack, which is a movie I've never even heard of.
Yeah.
And I was entirely expecting it to be Fiddler on the Roof, to be perfectly honest with you, but it isn't. Fiddler on the Roof, I think, is number 2. But Fiddler on the Roof is also really long. So Billy Jack's a Western. I found that out.
Okay.
So, yeah. I've never even heard of that. Is that a bad thing? Probably. But I've never heard of that movie. And it was the highest grossing US domestic movie of 1971. Jeannine.
Okay.
You are on 1 point. I am on 0 points.
Okay.
It's a low-scoring game. It's a defensive game today.
It is. It is. What was the highest grossing movie of 1992?
1992. What came out in 1992? No, that was 1991. I was going to say Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, but that was 91. 92. What came out in 92? I don't even know what came out in 92. Give me the multiple.
Is it A, Lethal Weapon 3?
Oh.
B, Beauty and the Beast.
I'm sure Beauty and the Beast was 91, but perhaps it carried over.
Batman Returns or Home Alone 2? Lost in New York, a favorite of yours.
It is. That's a tough one. Batman Returns, Home Alone 2, Lethal Weapon 3, or Beauty and the Beast. But I think Beauty and the Beast was 91, so I don't know how much it would have taken over. But I assume it has to be, doesn't it? I'd be really confused if it's not Beauty and the Beast at this point. So I'm going to say Beauty and the Beast, but I'm also going to... Don't give me the point, but I'm also going to say Home Alone 2 as a reserve. But I'm saying Beauty and the Beast.
That is incorrect.
It is incorrect. Okay. Yes. And the correct answer?
Duh. Batman Returns.
Batman Returns.
Yes.
I just don't think... I don't see how that's beaten out Beauty and the Beast.
Well, Beauty and the Beast was down there. Beauty and the Beast was at 18 at that point.
This is because it was a 91 and you confused me.
Yes, I know. You're not the only one with tricks. But the top 5, the top 5 was Batman Returns, Lethal Weapon 3, Sister Act, which I'm like, he's not gonna think Sister Act was even close to the top. I don't think.
Why not? Everybody loves Sister Act.
Everyone loves Sister Act, but like to be like top box office of the entire year.
Okay, would you think 3 Men and a Baby would be near top box office of 1987 because it was like number 3?
No.
3 Men and a Baby.
But that's what eliminated it for me. So I figured Sister Act would have been just an easy elimination for you. That's why I didn't want to put it. Home Alone and Wayne's World. Those were the top 5.
Okay.
So that's why I was like, I want to pick Beauty and the Beast because that's a bigger one that he's going to think, ooh, Oscar.
Okay.
Yeah,
yes, you've outsmarted me.
Aladdin was up there too, but I know Beauty and the Beast was probably bigger than Aladdin.
Well, Jeannine, your final one for the years. You have, please tell me the highest grossing US domestic movie of 1981.
Multiple choice, please.
Multiple choice. You have The Great Muppet Caper.
Okay.
You have Superman 2.
Ooh.
You have Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Oh.
And you have Time Bandits.
Ooh.
A Muppet movie, a Time Bandits, a Superman movie, or an Indiana Jones movie? And what, pray tell, was the highest grossing US domestic movie of 1981?
I'm going to say Raiders.
It was Raiders of the Lost Ark. It was. Yes, it was. I thought I might trick you out with Superman 2.
Yes, definitely.
But it was Raiders of the Lost Ark. Jeannine is 2 points. 2 points for Jeannine. No points for Morgan. But I have one last stab.
Okay, Morgan, what was the number 1 movie of 2003?
2003. 2003. No, that was 2004. That was 2004. That was 2002. That was 2003. That was 2004. Oh, there was nothing. If I go multiple choice, I might still be able to tie with the bonus. I'm not going to get the bonus. I have to go for it, don't I? I have to go for it.
No
Otherwise,
multiple choice in the
lose.
bonus, which we will share what that
Ang
is.
Lee's Hulk.
Oh, you're just going for it?
Yeah.
That is incorrect.
I had to go for it. Otherwise, I'd have lost.
Do you want to hear the multiple choice and see if you would have gotten it?
Yes. I will not take the point.
Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of the Black Pearl.
I forgot about
Matrix Reloaded. Finding Nemo.
Oh.
Lord of the Rings, Return of the King.
God, I forgot about all of those movies. I was thinking of superhero movies and I forgot about them all. It's probably Pirates, isn't it?
This one was like all of those you really could have thought, but all of those were in the top 5. But the number 1 was Finding Nemo.
Really? Wow, okay.
Yes, height of Pixar's
Fair enough. Fair enough. I'm not good with box office. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. We do have bonus questions, though.
Yes.
And our bonus question, well, Jeannine, I would like you to tell me what the highest grossing movie in the US was on my day of birth.
There's so many movies that came out in 1997, and I don't know like their release date. So I don't know if they came out in April or not. So we're not talking like the biggest movie of that year, 1997.
No.
We're talking about the movie that was number 1 at the box office the day Morgan was born in April.
Yes.
So I don't want to know what came out. Like, I think Men in Black was 1997. I think Batman and Robin was 1997.
Robin was 1997. Yes.
Jurassic World. Or Jurassic Park.
World?
The Lost World was 1997.
Was it?
Yes. I'm just going to go with Batman and Robin.
A wise choice given your Batman Forever and Batman Returns history on this quiz.
Yes.
But the number 1 movie in the US on my birthday was apparently Volcano.
Oh, okay. Was that the one with Anne Heche in it?
Was it? I don't know. I've never seen it.
I think Anne Heche was in that.
Oh, well. a circle of
It was one of those twin movies,
yes, with
Dante's Peak and
Dante's Peak.
Yeah, and this was the Tommy Lee Jones one.
I see.
Okay, I searched volcano and like actual volcanoes.
Oh, that's a silly thing to do, Jeannine. I mean,
yes, it was Anne Heche. So
okay,
full circle.
well, full circle.
Yes.
I like that then.
Aww.
I like that. Well, Jeannine, you have something to ask me.
Okay, Morgan, what was the #1 movie in theaters on August 29th, 1984? It was a Wednesday.
It was a Wednesday. It was a Wednesday when I was born as well, actually.
Really?
It was. Now, 1984, many movies in 1984. One very obvious one that you could go for, but probably isn't that.
Summer as well.
Then a bit later, summer movies in 1984. You're arguably thinking about that, but you're not thinking about that because it didn't come out until 3 years after 1984. Why was I thinking about that movie? I don't know. Could be anything. Could be anything, really. The obvious one's Ghostbusters, to just go with Ghostbusters because it's just you. And it just makes most sense. For you to be so excited, for you to be this dancingly excited.
I'm singing the song in my head. Tweedle, squeedle, weedle, squeedle, weedle.
Okay. And now I've forgotten what other movies came out in 1984. Amadeus, but that was probably a later on in the year movie. Big summer movies of 1984. I'm not overly sure on when was Superman 3. That must have been around 1984. Do you know what? I'm gonna go with that. I'm gonna go with Ghostbusters.
Unfortunately, it was a week shy of Ghostbusters. It was the #1 movie of 1984. It was the #1 movie all the way up until the weekend of my birthday. And then it was taken over by, because I think it came out since July, Ghostbusters.
Okay.
So it was holding the spot until this movie called Tightrope with Clint Eastwood came out.
Because I'm aware of the movie Tightrope starring Clint Eastwood, aren't I, Jeannine?
Yes, which I actually kind of want to watch because I went on this really fun run of the Dirty Harry movies for the first time a couple months back, and I really enjoyed them. So, Tightrope, Clint Eastwood crime thriller was
Brilliant.
the #1 movie in theaters the day I was born.
Phenomenal. Yes. Outstanding. You've won Fun and Games again. What a surprise. So annoyingly clever, aren't you, Jeannine?
So yes, I'm very sad. I was this close to having Ghostbusters be the #1 movie in theaters the day I was born, but
you were.
I was this close also to having Ray Parker Jr.'s "Who You Gonna Call" be the #1 song on the charts. But it was actually What's Love Got to Do with It,
which is another great song. I'm not going to tell you what was the #1 song on my birthday because you can't listen to it anymore.
Oh,
you can go and Google it. You know when my birthday is. It's the 23rd of April, 1997. Just go and Google it.
The one song on the Space Jam soundtrack nobody listens to anymore. Just say that.
Accurate. Anyway, the end of another glorious episode of Monday Madness, Jeannine. We've had fun, we always do. But it is not the only show we have on this YouTube channel or on this podcast feed, is it?
It is not. Of course, you can find this show on our YouTube channel where we do all kinds of fun stuff. We do watch-alongs, fun discussions of TV and movies. We do fun little videos over there, so please also check us out on the It's a Wonderful Podcast YouTube channel. Like, share, subscribe, do all of the things. And on the podcast feed, you can find other shows like our Wednesday show Morgan Hasn't Seen, we talked about on this episode, where Morgan hasn't seen things, I force him to watch them. So we are doing some fun teen thrillers right now to celebrate the awesome 90s and early 2000s of my generation. generation of films. So please check that out every Wednesday on the It's a Wonderful Podcast feed. And of course, every Friday we have our main show, It's a Wonderful Podcast, where we give love to those classic movies. So please check us out there every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
Yes. Subscribe. Ding your notification bells on this YouTube channel for this show in full glory video every single week, for the watch-alongs, the live discussions, the other fun videos we have here as well. Check them all out. Share them around. Have fun with it. It's great. And of course, as Jeannine said, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, we have you covered over on the It's a Wonderful Podcast feed. You can find us on Anchor, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, Castbox, Amazon Music, and everywhere else as well, across the bottom of the screen throughout the entire episode. If you are watching this, we have had links to the Patreon if you would like to support us in that way, our donation link if you would like to support us in that way, and also, of course, our social medias, which on Twitter you can find the show at It's a Wonderful One. Find me on Twitter at the Purple Don with a 3 instead of the E in the because, Jeannine.
3 is the magic number.
On Instagram at just the Purple Don. All your glorious stuff is where?
You can find me at Jeannine Devine _ on Twitter, Jeannine Devine on Instagram and TikTok. If you want to get any merch for any of our shows, you can find that at our Teespring shop. We have some fun designs over there, everything for all of our shows, including some fun Stranger Things designs. So check that out at our Teespring shop, link in the description. And if you want to purchase any of my art in print form, you can find that at my Big Cartel shop, g9design.bigcartel.com.
Yes, there we go. Jeannine, a countdown. Like a movie theatre, please. If that's even a thing.
What?
People do countdowns in movie theatres. You know, those clicky little circle things.
Oh.
10, 9. Just do an impression
But nobody
of that.
says anything. It's okay. It's
know.
just beep, beep.
No, don't do beep. Don't do beep.
Well, that's what it is.
Kind of is, yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of is, I suppose.
Beep. Beep.
Bye.